The other day, I was talking about the power of embodiment. Now, what in the heck am I talking about embodiment for, and what even is that? Embodiment is like this. Okay, so you have a body. You are your body. Where are you? Your consciousness, that which is self aware, has a body and it has multisensory input. Of course, there's the five senses, and there's more beyond that, like the sense of balance. For example, if you couldn't feel balanced, if you were in a vertigo state and perpetually feeling off, that would not feel great. People who struggle with that are having a hard time, for sure. But I want to talk to you now about an additional outcome of embodiment, as well as how we humans are tricking ourselves out of it. If you're an embodied creature, what that means is there are certain, let's say, stimulus and response mechanisms in the body with the brain and how you choose to move your brain around the world. So suppose you encounter a problem in physical space and you use your brain and your body to physically solve that in the real world, unlocking some sort of reward or treasure as a result to meet a need, to satiate a desire, or to fulfill an urge, you will feel good about yourself. You will experience a release of the neurotransmitter dopamine, right? Feel good. You have this fantastic reward. Now, we live in an age in which virtual realities are quick, easy, ubiquitous, and unlimited options, alternatives to the real thing. I just unfortunately described video games. Imagine you turn on a video game and you are physically using, your hands and whatnot and eyes and body to engage with, kind of hunched over, attempting to solve this problem in the virtual reality of this video game. And it enables the survival of your character, your avatar, I suppose you could say, because it's that person, it's you who's controlling them. You unlock something and then you receive a bountiful reward of some treasure or a new passage that's been revealed, or level up or something like that. And there's bells and whistles, there's pleasing sounds and vibration in the controller, and all manner of things happen. There's music and it's wonderful. And your brain has just been hacked, as has your body. Learning and practicing hypnosis, you realize that the brain doesn't understand the difference between simulated reality and real reality. And this is how addictions to unhealthy behaviors occur, whether it's with gambling, whether it's with video games, or whether it's to girly pictures on the internet, if you know what I mean. The brain, the subconscious specifically, where our desires, urges, opinions, beliefs, habits, so on and so forth, are all rooted, it doesn't know that it's not real. This, by the way, is how millions of young men are programming into themselves all manner of strange kinks, fetishes, even orientations, by engaging in, let's say, the classic biblical term is onanism. I don't know what happens if I use other words related to it on YouTube, so I'm kind of playing with the algorithm and safety and search and whatnot. So bear with me while I be a weirdo. And we know that because of the speed of engaging in an activity, the ease of access of that activity, and then the dopamine response, the reward, coming so quick and so easy, let's do it again. But in order to get the same hit of dopamine as last time, it has to be faster, has to be more intense, has to be more extreme. And this is how new kinks, fetishes, and even orientations are developed in otherwise typical vanilla straight cisgender heterosexual people. I don't like the word cisgender, but again, just bear with me, okay? Playing YouTube's game. This is how it happens. This is how people become addicted to video games. This is how, instead of engaging in real world problem solving, they lose themselves to a fake world. We are embodied creatures. And so what's happening is, instead of doing a hard thing like engaging in weightlifting a couple of times a week, or daily runs, or just getting a freaking Fitbit and walking 20,000 steps a day, you try to level up to level 20,000 each day, score 20,000 points in your video game or your app. And this is not a problem that's just with young men, although young men are the most potent force in society for great change, because they have the most to gain and the least to lose. This is saying that men are built and women just are, right? This is where the expression of like protecting your virtue comes from with women, is from the world of tradition, from the classical world. Metaphysically speaking, it is entirely correct. Whereas with men, they start with 0, have to level up to 100. Whereas women start at 100, have to go down to, or could protect that the situation. And so I think this problem does affect women as well, certainly. But it would be with Instagram, let's say, where they have mass exposure to a curated world of perfect, so-called perfect lifestyles that set their expectations. So imagine the brain is so old with the body, so roughly like 200,000 years old. You have a 200,000-year-old brain and body, the gifts from your ancestors. We did not develop in a world of smartphones and social media, or also girly pictures on the internet or video games. The brain and the body thinks those are real. Your brain and your body think you actually have access to a harem of millions of women of all ethnicities, sizes, persuasions, colors, fitness levels, all over the world. And if you're watching it, your brain also thinks you're bi, because your brain thinks you're participating in those activities with another dude, and possibly just standing there and watching. Oh, that's where that fetish comes from. That's why I've seen like a 5,000% increase in popularity since 2007. Wait, why 07, Joshua? Oh, the iPhone. Oh, shoot. Yeah, I went there. Is it really a 5,000% increase? Fact check me on that. It's somewhere in that realm. Now, with women and Instagram, young women and Instagram or TikTok or whatever, what have you, that much access perpetually to that many perfect lifestyles makes you think like you're the odd one out. Because everywhere you look, you see women with a certain lifestyle, and that peer pressure, that socializing gets to you. So you should have that lifestyle too. There's something wrong with you if you don't. Whereas in the real world, in real life, your network of people, probably nobody has anything like that in their lifestyle. Maybe 10%, 20% of that. And so an unrealistic expectation set is created for both men and women, and how one should be treating the other. Women should be like this in bed for men. Men should be like this, I guess, outside the bedroom, maybe inside, I guess, as well. This is the sort of lifestyle my man should provide for me. And then you add video games into it, and that meets the need for problem solving and achievement. And you realize that the explanation for the fertility crisis is already upon us. Yeah. So now the question is, what are we going to do about it? Well, we can't solve all the world's problems, but we can solve our own. I encourage you, if there's a particular video game that you like playing, what is the real world alternative to that? It's Call of Duty. Okay. Search airsoft course near me. And I'm sure there's some sort of equivalent. If it's you really like into a fantasy game, okay, do something in real life with cosplay, meeting other people, getting out into the real world to do the same thing. If You're really into the girls on the internet, if you know what I mean. Okay. What is it about the men that are attractive to the women? Well, they're big, muscular, they can dance. Okay. Salsa lessons near me. Strength training tips for beginners. Go to ChatGPT or the Grok AI or whatever and ask it what it thinks you should be doing as your given your fitness level and your diet and activity and layout, like what your schedule is. Tell it to suggest 2 to 3 workouts a week, what you should be doing, and be precise about it. Get out into the real world and using your physical body. What's happening is your brain is thinking you don't have to physically do anything in order to achieve pleasures associated with girly pictures and video games and achieving real world things and creating and making great accomplishments. This is about moving your physical body and the importance of that. It is about self persuasion. The hardest person to persuade is yourself. If you can persuade yourself to change something about yourself in the real world, you can persuade anyone to do anything. You are your first and last persuasion examination, and you can ace it.